Hello, and welcome to a video where I'm gonna crack open the Logic session where I recorded my cover of Rockstar. Let's get started. So the intro of the original song starts out with a synth where it's kind of like a super reverby, plucked synth that I wanted to recreate with clean guitar. And I think it sounds pretty cool. So these first two tracks, they are the original octave that the synth part is played at, and these bottom two tracks here are an octave higher, and together they sound really cool. So here's the original octave. And then the higher octave. And then together. Sounds really nice and full, but I still wanted to do more. So what I did, I kind of recreated the original synth. This was actually a synth I've had for a while, this preset I made a long time ago. Sounds a lot like the original synth in the original version of the song. I've just got the piano doing kind of the same thing. The notes are sustained, so. Yeah, sounds pretty nice. And right here I've got a lead guitar track that I just added to bring us into the first verse right here. Just a little fade in to add, add a little texture. And I also have some vocal tracks down here. This is just the little intro chuckle that is in the original song. I wanted to include that. I liked it. And here I have a reverse vocal that I think I chopped. Looks like I chopped it from right about here on the main vocal track and just copied and pasted it over here and reversed it, and it sounds pretty cool. Yeah, with some reverb on it. And here I did that little reverse reverb trick where I just cut, just the very first note, and I put it on a track with, tons of reverb, and bounced it, and then put it back in the session and reversed it. And reversing stuff in Logic is super easy. Let me show you real quick. Right there, there's a little shortcut for it too. Super easy, super quick, and cool effect. Yeah, and then going into the vocal track here. I've been fucking hoes and popping pills. Yeah, sounds pretty cool. So then we get to the verse. Let's check it out. I've been fucking hoes and popping pills, man, I feel just like a Rockstar. Nice big bass groove. So here we have the clean guitars again. They're still going. They're a little different this time. They're different notes. So I retracked them. Here, let's check them out. Yeah. So I still have the higher octave going in the lower octave, and it's that bend right there is super like Tesseract-y. I like it. And then, it's behind this huge bass groove. Yeah. Then we have the keys still going. Right here, the synth and the piano. Sorry, the regions are named the same thing. What I end up doing is I track the first thing. I end up copying it down to the other track, which ends up being, a different instrument, but I just edit the MIDI in there, and then I never rename this. So it's kind of confusing, but you can just look at the track names. So here is a pad that I added, which I actually have side-chained to the kick. It's not technically side-chained to the kick, it's side-chained to this track right here, which is playing the same kick pattern, but it's more consistent in velocity. So That's what I did here. Oh, my little a punny track name for my sidechain track called the Sidechain Smokers. Anyway, so they've got this pad that I have in Serum. Let's check it. Yeah, that's something you don't really notice in this song, but it definitely makes a difference in the mix. I've been fucking hoes and popping pillies, man, I feel just like a Rockstar. All my brothers got that gas and they always be smoking like a Rockstar. Yeah. So, the next section, the second half of this first verse here, I stopped the clean guitar because I think in the original song, if I remember correctly, the melody stops there, the synth melody, so I stopped the guitars. I cut those, and in its place, some crunchy low guitars that I put up here. I originally had these EQ'd. It looks like I'm cutting out a bunch of low end and some mid-range stuff. But looks like I bypassed it. I wonder, I don't remember. I wonder if I just didn't really like how it sounded EQ'd, so I was like, screw it. Yeah, it's much more thin. I am cutting a lot of the lows. But whatever, we'll leave it how it was. And then I have this lead track here as well that I added in the second half of the verse, which what's happening here is just a bunch of delay and reverb. And what I'm playing there is just the same note on two different strings, and then I'm bending one of the strings to make it kind of dissonant and eerie sounding. Also over here I put an eighth note echo, looks like, in front of an overdrive, which I don't know, I kind of liked the effect just because I like, you know, it distorts the echo. Same bass groove going on. Unfortunately, the vocal track I found, maybe unfortunately, maybe it was a little happy accident. This vocal track I found, it's not the highest quality, and the hi-hats are still kind of coming through. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's kind of cool having those hi-hats in there, but they're not the highest quality sounding things ever. Hey, switch my whip, came back in black, I'm starting saying yeah, you can hear those hi-hats coming through. Not the highest quality, and I did what I could with it, but whatever. I didn't think it sounded bad enough to where I, you know, couldn't do the cover. So the next section we have here, I dropped it down from the quad track cleaned guitars, to just two. Sounds like they're the higher octave there, and they're real quiet. This little build-up section to that huge riff here. Tele guitar doesn't stand for Telecaster. It stands for telephone guitar. Kind of sounds like you're listening to it through a telephone, which it's, you know, not quite, but that's just what I named the track. I have the lead still going, creating that sense of space in the background, and still have the synth and the piano going. And down here I have some build-up stuff, which I would like to show you. In the drums, I have a reverse cymbal, which is always handy. You gotta love those reverse cymbal effects. And then here, which ends up going for, you know, a few bars, just a white noise filter effect that I reversed. It ramps up into that big riff. I made this effect in Massive a long time ago, and I just bounced it so I can, you know, spotlight search for it every time I need it and just drag it in. And it sounds nice. It's a nice build up. Starts off real quiet. And builds up. That's nice. And I took the reverse reverb vocal again and put it in here. So I've got all those things kind of building up. If I'm not mistaken, I automated this a little bit too. Oh, actually, it goes down. It just cuts out. Actually, yeah, I'm glad I opened up the automation. I cut everything out just so you wouldn't hear anything other than that little guitar scratch I do here, and then the huge riff that comes, you know, out of nowhere. Yeah. That guitar, that's all I wanted you to hear right there on the 4th beat of that measure. And then bam, you're like punched in the face with this huge riff. And I have this sub smash sample that's huge. Yeah, that right at the beginning of the riff, just to make, you know, make it hit even harder. Let's hear it. Heavy stuff, heavy stuff. All right. Yeah, and once again, I have this lead track going. I have it, if I zoom out, I've got it going through a lot of the song. It's a nice space filler. You know, it fills out the mix really well. I like using stuff like that to kind of put in the background and just make it sound bigger.
Cocaine on the table, liquor porn, don't give a damn. Don't choke up and he's a groovy, she just tryna get in. Saying I'm with the band. Now she acting.
Yeah, and then going into the next verse, I have this lead guitar part here that I thought was really cool. Got it drenched in delay and echo, or delay and reverb. Sounds pretty cool and spacey. I like how the huge riff drops down into this, you know, more chill section with this lead guitar part here.
I've been fucking hoes and popping pillies, man, I feel just like a rock star.
And I have that lead guitar part doubled with a little synth. Yeah, just it's just a simple Logic preset that I pulled up and tweaked a little bit, and it sounded really good. So I left that in there. I liked it a lot.
I've been fucking hoes and popping pillies, man, I feel just like a rock star. All my brothers got that gas and they always be smoking like.
So here we go into this groove again, and I've got, you know, the crunch guitar came back. I did something kind of interesting that I may as well point out. I did a little interesting thing with the guitar part here. Yeah, that. So you can hear I'm doing like harmonics on like alternating between the two tracks. So it's like panned left and right. You're getting harmonics on one side. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. And that's about it for this section. We keep that riff going, that lead lick going, and then I change the groove up. I take it back to that groove introduced earlier, and then I kind of played it on the crunch channel and kind of made it a little more staccato.
I've been in the hills, fucking superstars, feeling like a pop star. Drinking Henny, bad bitches, jumping in the pool, and they ain't got on no bra. Hit her front or back, pulling on the tracks, and now she screaming out no more. They like Savage, why you got a 12-car garage and you only got 6 cars?
All right, so right there, I changed the guitar to my main rhythm tone instead of the crunch sound. So it starts to get a little heavier. Yeah, and then I have that split coil sound going on. Bass doing the same groove. And then what I end up doing, since this is the second half of 21 Savage's verse, and he raps it instead of sings it, there's no melodic content. So I figured that was my opportunity to change the scale, and I go to I go to a Phrygian mode. And it sounds pretty dark. It comes from this Aeolian natural minor into a Phrygian thing, and it sounds really cool, I think. Yeah, and then there we go back to just the natural minor scale, just jamming back on that same riff that's introduced earlier in the song. Yeah, I think it transitions between the two scales pretty well. I think it's pretty cool. I do this climbing chord progression, and I just chug it out with the rhythm guitars. Yeah, and then bass doing the same thing, just doing the bass notes, and then the lead changes up. It doesn't change the notes from before when it changes to the Phrygian thing. And then it goes to like a tremolo pick thing. Uh-oh, somebody didn't fade that. Let me get that right there. Whoops. That's fine. Yeah. All right, so that takes us back to this riff, which is the same riff from before, but he's, singing the hook over it instead. Fucking hoes and popping pillies, man, I feel just like a Rockstar. All my brothers got that gas and they always be smoking like a Rockstar. Fucking with me, call up on the Uzi. Yeah, so there we still have that lead guitar going, or not this lead guitar from before, but we have that spacey lead doing that same note thing. We've got some keys. What do we have going on the keys? Okay. What I did here is I just took that melody from before that's in the original version of the song. I just took those and put them there. I feel just like a rock star. All my brothers got that gas and they always be smoking like a rock star. Not super noticeable, but it's nice to have them there. You can hear him when you listen for him. And then here I've got when he does that little rhythm in the vocals there, I match it with the snare and the guitar. And then into the solo here. That was fun to do. So the rest of the vocal track here is just kind of ambient stuff at the end of the song. And I figured this would be a really cool opportunity to just put a solo in, just playing on that groove from before. So yeah, here's the solo section. Drenched in delay and reverb, of course. Get that super epic solo effect. Yeah. And then it dies out there. Here, we have that same lead going because I love it apparently. Cool. And that's it for this section. Then one last thing, I took that Sub Smash sample from before and I put it right there on the last note of the song, the very last note, just to really emphasize the ending of the song. Like, right here's the ending of the song. This is where it ends. Yeah. Hopefully I covered, everything you would have hoped to see from this. Actually, you know what? Let me open up my mixer just so you can, see it. Mixers are fun to look at, right? Let me open up these folders with all the tracks in them. Yeah, so these are all the tracks I had for the whole song. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed taking a more in-depth look at this song. See you next time.